Robotech was first introduced in 1985, but I didn't watch it until 2001. Even though the show is an amalgamation of three separate animes combined into a singular storyline, I enjoyed it and had a huge obsession with it throughout high school. Luckily for me and my new fan status for Robotech, this is also when the franchise released video game adaptations. When Robotech Battlecry was released for PS2, GameCube, and Xbox, I instantly jumped in and loved its retelling of the Macross story arc. In late 2004, Robotech Invasion was released for PS2 and Xbox, so I again jumped in and enjoyed it while waiting for the release of Halo 2. There was an additional Robotech game released in 2002 for the Game Boy Advance titled Robotech the Macross Saga. This portable entry in the Robotech franchise is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up set during the events of the Macross arc. The game is easier than most in the genre and average overall, but considering how much I suck at the genre, I appreciated it at the time. Revisiting it all these years later, though, has been an interesting experience. Robotech the Macross Saga retells the story of the Macross arc of Robotech from the initial Zentradi invasion of Earth, the SDF-1's journey back from Pluto, to Chiron's last attack on Macross City. While lacking the depth of the show, the basic plot is portrayed in a serviceable manner that newcomers can grasp. Story elements are presented to players through pre-mission briefings before each of the game's levels. Being a GBA game, none of the text-based briefings are voiced, and there are no cutscenes to be found throughout the game. When first starting Robotech the Macross Saga, players can choose from one of 5 characters from the show to play. Rick Hunter, Roy Fokker, Max Sterling, Miria, and Ben Dixon. Each character has unique stats that give them certain benefits or weaknesses. Max and Miria are your expert pilots with faster movement and more missiles, but weaker shots and health. Ben is the tank with greater health and better damage, but moves slower and has fewer missiles. Rick and Roy are more balanced overall with average stats across the board. Each character has individual progression, so you aren't able to pick and choose characters between missions. After completing the game with each character, you unlock a new bonus character that you can play as, with 6 unlockable in total. The game plays out over 10 levels. 8 of these levels are side-scrolling shoot-'em-up action where you take on the Zentradi in your Veritech fighter. Because this is Robotech, your Veritech can transform between 3 operating modes: Fighter, Guardian, and Battleoid with a quick tap of the L or R buttons. Fighter mode provides the fastest movement, which is great for avoiding incoming fire, but you can collide with the ground terrain and take damage if you are not careful. Guardian mode keeps Fighter mode's gun and missile loadout, but with reduced speed and the ability to hover on ground surfaces. Battleoid mode removes missiles from your weapon loadout, but grants you the ability to walk along the ground and fire in multiple directions compared to the static aim of the other 2 modes. Mastering the best use case for each mode can help you make quick work of enemy troops while taking the least amount of damage possible. If you want to stick to one and be done, Guardian mode is the best bet for most players. The first level is where I always find the most trouble on a new playthrough. With some characters' health only allowing for 2 hits before death and having weaker weapons, you can have a hard time taking out enemies and earning experience points. Various power-ups are available to help you through each mission, like gaining additional wingman, 3-way shots, lasers, and bombs. Unfortunately, these power-ups soon leave you, but they typically last long enough to get you through a tougher section of a level. Various health and missile ammo power-ups can be found at various points. You will also unlock extra lives by killing enemies, which is important as they carry over from level to level. Once you make it through the first level, experience points can be used to buy upgrades for your character's stats, which help you tackle the rest of a playthrough. Power determines the maximum amount of missiles you can carry, stamina determines your max health, strength determines your damage output, piloting determines your flight speed, speed determines your Battleoid movement speed. Each stat can only be upgraded a few times at an incremental upgrade cost per unlock level. Dumping points into strength and stamina first can make even the weakest character a breeze to get through the game with. The different enemy types found throughout the game also offer different experience rewards, so pay attention when bigger enemies start to appear for maximum profit. Enemy variety in the game covers practically everything found within the Macross arc. Zentradi fighters, battle pods and their variants, officer pods, female power armor, and various ground troops are all present. For 2 of the game's flying levels, we are treated to a dedicated boss fight against Chiron and his pod and ship, adding further enemy variety. These boss fights offer you a chance to show off your dodging skills, but they can be short. To add further variety to the gameplay, 2 levels found in the campaign switch up gameplay to a free-roaming 2.5D isometric shooter where you pilot a Destroid. You can pick which Destroid you pilot when the missions occur, and each has unique stats. The goal for both of these missions is to clear out landing pods scattered across the map and deal Zentradi troops along the way. Destroids can't transform, and there are no weapon-altering power-ups to be found in these levels. Health and ammo pickups are still present around each map, though. One great feature of the game is that it offers a full co-op mode of its campaign utilizing GBA link cables. Both players work together to beat levels and each will earn experience and mission progress towards their selected character. While this can lead to slower upgrade progression, the game is enjoyable with 2 players. An additional versus mode is also present where you can take on 3 other friends in a Destroid showdown. Choosing from a variety of maps based on the game's 2 Destroid missions and numerous characters, including enemies, you can set kill counts and fight. While I wouldn't consider it a primary draw for the game, it is a nice bonus to have. Audio work for Robotech the Macross Saga is cool to hear even if it isn't the best audio the GBA has to offer. It takes its Robotech roots seriously and utilizes numerous songs from the show as its background music. While it is a GBA version of each song, they come across well and hearing these renditions can be fun. Sound effects likewise are based on the show and do a good job of conveying that you are in the Robotech universe. Lasers are my particular favorite. The visuals in use are perfect for this type of game. Briefings and character selection utilize scenes from the show for their presentation. Once in the game, your Veritech looks 3D with good animation for all 3 of its forms. The different colors for different characters are also well represented, making it easy to see who is who in co-op gameplay. The backgrounds on each stage also perfectly represent the levels and showcase what is happening in the story very well with good artwork. The 2.5D Destroid segments are the weaker levels visually, with Destroids lacking some of the details found in the other levels and the overhead maps being more bland compared to the nicer side-scrolling backgrounds. It is also worth noting that on later levels, you may encounter some slowdown when numerous enemies begin to fill the screen. I think the biggest complaints that could be used against Robotech the Macross Saga is that it is incredibly short and easy compared to some of the genre's best titles. Anyone who frequents the genre will blow through this game without issue in around an hour or less. That easier difficulty, however, can make this a great way to introduce players to the genre, so I don't want to dismiss it outright as a flaw. There are 2 difficulty levels in the game, but I unfortunately couldn't tell a difference between them. Instead, my bigger complaints lay with some shoddy hit detection found throughout the game, especially noticeable in the 2.5D Destroid segments. You will find some shots fly right through an enemy, and you will get caught on buildings constantly. Also, while I can appreciate these levels and the variety they offer to the overall gameplay, it is easy to argue they interrupt the game's flow, and some might consider that a bad thing. I also wish that power-ups lasted longer. Even with its shorter playtime, Robotech the Macross Saga can give you numerous hours of play if you want to unlock and max out the stats of each of your characters. The game offers a New Game Plus mode for you to start the game over from level 1 with your upgraded characters. With 11 total characters available, you can expect to take at least 10 hours to max out everything. Co-op mode is also fun to just mess around with. Considering how average Robotech the Macross Saga is, and how it was originally received back in 2002, I was shocked when it was announced that a full HD remaster of the game was coming to the Nintendo Switch. This version of the game keeps all 10 of the original levels, but upgrades every audio and visual aspect. Music uses the original scores from the show, but some of the sound effects have been overlooked, such as my favorite laser noise. Backgrounds and characters have vastly more detail, but animations appear to be the same as the GBA originals. The character select screen and mission briefings also got complete overhauls and look vastly nicer by comparison while still using shots from the show to convey their info. I appreciate that upgraded stats have 2 tones of color to remind you what the base stat of each character was. Best of all, the game retains its co-op mode for you to experience on a single Switch system, using either Pro Controllers or Joy-Cons. Versus mode has been removed, however. For its $10 asking price, this is the best way to experience the game today. Robotech the Macross Saga is an average shoot-'em-up set in the Robotech universe. While it is neat to see Robotech presented in this fashion, the game isn't overly difficult even on its hardest setting. It can make a great game to introduce players to the genre, however, and the full co-op campaign helps add value to the experience. While the GBA version is still perfectly serviceable, the Switch Remaster is the nicer way to play, and for its $10 asking price, it doesn't break the bank. So those are my thoughts on Robotech the Macross Saga, just an average GBA shoot-'em-up, and surprisingly got a Switch version that just kind of renders the whole thing obsolete. Anyway, played this game a lot back in the day, and again, it was just never the greatest of Robotech games, and I'm honestly surprised it's the only Robotech game that came out that has gotten remastered. Of course, probably the easiest. But anyway, Thank you so much for watching today's review. I hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you'd like to spend a weekend with Robotech the Macross Saga, know that you'll probably have a good time with it, but just don't expect the world. But here at the end, just the usual favors, thumbs up, thumbs down, depending how much you like today's review. And please be sure to hit that sub button, notification bell, because we want to have you along for the ride of all the videos coming your way. And if you'd like to further help support the channel and keep going, please be sure to check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, as every little bit helps this place going. Big thank you to all of our current backers. You're amazing. We couldn't do it without you. But till next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all keep on gaming. See you back next video.